Hey everyone, it's Brody from Everything Board Games. Starling Games sent me a War of Whispers. So let's get it to the table. So War of Whispers is a area control betting type game. Everyone's going to start with a character here, which is not one of the empires included. So there's 5 empires and everyone is controlling all 5 of these empires here on the board. And we are players that are secret spies, and we kind of are pulling the strings of these empires and making them do what we want. And so I'm going to be the supplicant spider, but there's also the cult of the rat, the pale raven, the endless serpent, and each player is going to have 5 of these tokens, and they each represent each empire. At the beginning of the game, you're going to flip them all over. These are going to get shuffled around and randomly are going to get put on your board like so. Now, you're going to be able to look at them to know where each of them are, but by empire, so I'm going to show you, but you're not going to show when you're playing the game. I have the horse empire here. So they are the empire that I want to help the most, because at the end of the game, how many ever cities that they have times 4 is how many points I get. Right here, 3, 2, 0, and -1. And so these 2 you want to have not do succeed and not do good in the game, but these 3 you might want to focus on. And you're going to be doing that by taking actions here on the board. So this is the first player marker, and you will also grab your agents of your secret society, I guess you could call it. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to take 2 of these at the very start of the game, and after everyone has just kind of looked where each of their affiliations are here of who they want to succeed and not, then they will place these 2 tokens. Here, I'll show you here on the board. All right, so these 2 tokens, I'm going to place them, and since I'm looking here, I'm just going to flip them over to kind of help us. Those are the 3 that I want to succeed more than others. Then I'm going to try to help them out. And so I'm going to place my token here on the horsey. All the others players will go. We'll just show you, maybe they want the green and they want red. Back to me, well, yeah, I want red too. I'm going to come here. They want yellow and they want, I don't know, blue. So it's really tough to know at the beginning of the game. At the beginning of the game, it's kind of basic here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go along the track of the edge of the board. So we start there. We're going to deploy our agents. Yeah, we just did that. Okay. So then we're going to perform all the actions on the board. And so we're going to go around. And if there is no one in any of these areas, you'll look to see if there is an agent next to it. If there is an agent, then they can perform that action as well. So in this case, there is none. Oh, yep. So the snake would be able to perform this action. This action, you'll get familiar with all these, but this is take a card for 2 of the farms that this empire has. So you'll look on the board, and right now, and I didn't put the cubes out, but each of them start with certain cubes on the board, blue and red and yellow has 6, and green here. All right, and brown starts with none, but they have the most cities. These are the cities, by the way, and they did a very good job at organizing this board of how it is. It looks like, oh, that's no fair. The horse empire doesn't have any starting units on the board, but they also start with 4 cities, where green over here only has 2 cities. So, and they're in the middle here, so they get attacked more. So it's very thought out of how this board is. Blue has strong here, but they only have this one city, but it's really hard to get to. Anyways, let's get back to explaining these. So he's going to perform this action, which is for each 2 he gets to draw a card. Well, there just happens to be 1, 2, so he gets a card. So he'll take a card. That's the action he wants to do. Or he can do this action, which is putting 2 banners on, no matter what, just 2. So he'd take 2 of these. Wherever he is at or that he's over, he can put these on. If he was already had units in another area, he could also put these units in those. So say, well, I'm going to put them right there. Then he can do that. Then he will take one of these actions, which is for every tower that the Empire has, he can put a banner, which is a cube, or this is attack. So say he wants to attack. He can move all of his cubes into an area, and let's just say, I'll show you kind of how the attacking works. He has 2, so if they move over, 2 and 2 cross out, and then they get that. If there was only 2 coming, they would cancel each other out, and then it would go to the default, which is the Horse Empire. It'd stay for theirs. You always have to have a unit in a territory if you didn't begin with it. So blue would have to always have one here if he wants to keep it. And obviously he wants to go for the cities here. So you're going to go around the board. Spider's going to do this action because no one's there. Then this action. The snake spies will do this one, then that one, go around, ravens, and everyone's going to do their actions. And you'll see a lot more of these cubes getting added on and some cards getting drawn. Now these cards are little actions that you can perform. So this says add 1 banner to your attack. So when you're attacking, you can add an extra 1 to it. So this card costs this icon here. So this first one is always free for whatever card and whichever empire that you get. It gets better if you have 2 of them. So you need 2 of these green cards to get this one. And then a green and a blue, then you'll get this, which is recruit. Add 3 friendly banners to any region. So that's any region on the board. You can just add 3 of them. And you'll see that with these cards, there are surprises. So you do need to defend because people will have these little actions that will just pop up their units in an area that you didn't think maybe they could get to. And so these cards are very important. After you all go around, that's the end of round 1. Everyone's going to discard down to 5 cards. You can only have 5 cards in your hand. And then you can, if you choose, over here, expose any of the 2 places if you want to switch them. So say, well, the horses I don't think are actually going to do that well. No one is doing anything with them except for me. But 2 of the other players have green powerful. Maybe I want to switch these. So I would switch them and flip them up so now everyone knows what I'm doing and more information of what I might be doing on the board. And so every time you go around, you can choose to switch them once like that per round. So at the end, okay, start again. So then the starting player will go to another player, and each player now will take 1 of their agents off the board. So say, okay, now I don't want this one here because I'm not going for them. I'm going more for green. So I don't want to do that action again. They're going to take this one off and they'll take that one off. Now we each get 2 more agents and we'll again go and put them on. So say I'm going for green now. Well, I'll put mine here. We go around. My second one was what? Red. So I'll keep on doing red. And so there's going to be 3 total actions that I do when we go around the board the second round. And then again, the next round you're going to take 1 off and add 2 on. So each round you get an extra agent, but your other agent is staying put to where it is. So you're just building up on that empire with whatever action, and you can choose one or the other action to perform, but you're going to be building that empire up with that action as well as you can to be able to succeed with wherever you want to be here on your track. After we go through the 4 rounds and it ramps up the 4th round, almost all of these will be filled up. And if they're not filled, someone else will be taking the actions, because you remember, if there's no one if there is someone to the right, when it's empty, they get to take that action as well. And so almost all these will be eventually going on and on and on, and the board will change, and at the end, you will add up how many cities that someone controls. So say they came over here, took them out, or whatever, they might be here. These guys might be up here. Say they came and took that city or whatever. You're going to add up. So, all right, red, 1, 2, 3. So 3, and then I'm here, so I have 9 points from the red. And then everyone adds up where they're affiliated with how many points they get, and the player with the most points will win the game. Now, I like how you can change these things right here, because when I've played, I've seen that I've thought maybe I'd work with a certain empire and try to make them really strong, until I realized that no one else even cared about them and they weren't even building them up or anything. And I saw that other players were really building up another empire. Well, I'll just piggyback off of them and move my thing over and take what they've worked on to benefit myself. And you also would be surprised. We've had where everyone had the same empire here in the first area, but all these other ones were different. And so you might not realize this, but you might not care as much about one if people kind of show them. Like when I switch, they might switch theirs too, and you might just want to be working on these other ones or trying to hurt these other ones that you don't care about, because they also get minus points. And a lot of times it'll come down to the end of the game where all of these points here will be about almost close, but whoever has the worst one here will get some negative points, and that will determine the winner of the game. So the game is very well thought out, and you could almost put a type of player that each empire kind of is. These guys start off 4 here. They're kind of very aggressive with attacking and trying to spread out and trying to take over and trying to just defend their one city they had at the beginning, but it's very well defended because it's hard to get to. And brown horse, as you can see, they're not defending at all, but they own a lot, and they start with more cities than anyone else. Here in the middle of the game, everyone can hit them from all sides, and so they have some units, but they also have some cities, so they kind of stay in the middle. But I like how the board is set up like that. I like how also each of these empires, it's always the same order, and so I know that different changes over here with the blue and the red are going to happen before the yellow and the brown here. So that might help with my strategy as well. Now some details of the game here that I didn't mention here. So you have your cities on the board. These are towers here. So your towers are going to help with defense. They're +1 defense. And so if these yellow here is attacking over here, they can do so, but that's one, as if they had one cube over there, so one of theirs is going to be taken out, and they will now take over, but now they have the tower, so they have essentially 2. So if blue came over, well, 1, 2, 1, 2, that wipes them all out, but it goes back to blue because it originally was theirs. And so it becomes very strategic in how you fight over these towers. As you can see, they have towers on all 3 of theirs to get in, where others might not. And so the farms help you have more units in those areas. So the maximum you can have in an area is 4. You cannot have more than 4 unless you're on the farm. On the farm, you can have 6. So you can have more units in those areas to help defend, to help attack, to do anything like that. So those farms and those towers are very important as well. But the most important are the cities, because at the end of the game, the cities is what give you points. Again, this is A War of Whispers by Starling Games. If you like what you see, then go back it.